Shalom. First talk of all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Karkadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are there in truth and sincerity, and the women and the children who follow. Now, I've been diving into this book, the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah, Equiano. And there's so many comparisons and parallels that he is giving an account. First off, the man Olaudah Equiano was born a free man in Benin, in Africa, which Benin goes back to Benjamin. He's of the Igbo tribe, which Igbo goes back to Ibar, where we get the word Hebrew from. And he's a freed slave, giving an account of his life back in Africa as well as his life here in America. Now, this is the second time I've made this video. There's so much good stuff in this video that I can't give you all the good nuggets. I was 35 minutes in the last time I just tried to do this. So I'm just gonna try to make this short and sweet. Like I said before, I'm gonna put a link in the description for the audio book. The audio book is very edifying. It'll help you if you can't get a hold of this actual book. Definitely get the audio book and listen to it. But I like I okay, I keep saying like I said, but that was on the other video. You haven't heard that, so Salakia, forgive me. The book that I have is called the Classic Slave Narrative. So it's 4 different books in one, and the life of Olaudah Equiano is the first one. And that name, Olaudah Equiano, I'm gonna get that first. It says it's a different page, but Bob will try to bear with me. Yeah, here it is. It says we practiced circumcision like the Jews, and made offerings and feasts on that occasion in the same manner as they did. Like them also, our children were named from some event, some circumstance, or fancied foreboding at the time of their birth. I was named Olaudah, which in our language signifies vicissitude or fortune. Also, one favored and having a loud voice and well spoken. Now, the name Olaudah is very similar to the name Judah or Yahweh, which is basically the Most High thanks or thank you, Dawada, to Dawada Yahweh Dawada, Yahweh, thank you, the Most High. And when do you thank the Most High? Of course, you thank Him in sorrows as well. But when something good happens or you're fortunate, Dawada Yahweh Shem Yashai. That's what you say. So he's basically, I'm gonna just say that his name is Judah. And he's speaking broken Hebrew. It's a broken form of the language. Which he even says, as a matter of fact, let me get that. It says, like the Israelites, and like I said, this book is 4 different books, so I can't give you the page that it's on in this book alone because it may not be on that page, but it's different sections. The first part that I about his name, that was from section 6. This is from section 7. Bear with me. Section 7, it says, such as an imperfect sketch. Nope. This one. Like the Israelites in their primitive state, our government was conducted by our chiefs, our judges, our wise men, and elders, and the heads of family with us enjoyed a similar authority over his household with that which is ascribed to Abraham and the patriarchs. The law of retaliation prevailed almost universally with us, as with them. Even their religion appeared to have shed upon us a ray of its glory. So it's saying that our that the that the Jews' religion reflects upon our religion and the way that we worship, the way that we conduct ourselves on the daily. It says, though broken and spent in passage or eclipsed by a cloud, with which time, tradition, and ignorance may have enveloped it. So what he is saying is, we probably had the same customs and mannerisms as the Jews, but over time and wear and tear, basically, we went further and further away from the Most High. It's because that's what it was, and he had the understanding of that. It says if you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in a book. This is a very powerful book. I definitely suggest I can read this. Let me get a couple. Well, before I get the ones I have scriptures for, I want to just grab this. This is from section 7 as well. It says, such an imperfect sketch with which my memory has furnished me of the manners and customs of a people among whom I first drew my breath. And here I cannot forbear suggesting what has long struck me very forcibly, namely the strong analogy which, even by this sketch, imperfect as it is, appears to prevail in the manners and customs of my countrymen and those of the Jews before they reached the promised land, and particularly the patriarchs, while they were yet in that pastoral state which is described in Genesis. And then it goes on to say that uh, there's an opinion of a guy named Dr. Gill who said that their pedigree goes back to one of the wives of Keturah, Abraham's concubine. Just to throw him off. But he realized who he was in the spirit, and he recognized those parallels. He read the Bible, and one of his, not this picture that I have, but there's another picture, and it's him posing, and the Bible is open. So he was an educated man. He understood and read the scriptures, and he's seen the parallels within the scriptures and his memories of home. Very similar to the movie Amistad, when they were reading the Bible and they were speaking of Yahweh Shai. It's the same. It's the same deal. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to just get a couple more similarities. This is from section 3. It says, we were almost a nation of dancers, musicians, and poets. Every great event, such as a triumphant return from battle or other caused of public rejoicing, and is celebrated in public dances, which are accompanied with songs and music suited to the occasion. Now that brings two precepts to mind. The first being Matthew 5 and 13, it says, "Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted?" Now, what does it mean that you're the salt of the earth? You give flavor to life. We are so cultured. Who are the best dancers? Who are the best musicians? The best writers? The best poets? It said that we were a nation of them. Not only that, he talked about us singing and dancing when returning from war or for any purpose. Jake just want a purpose to turn up in these days. Give Jake a reason and they'll do it. They'll turn up. But this is 1 Samuel's 18 and 6. It says, "And it came to pass as they came, when David was returning from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet Saul, with timbrels of joy and instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s." So that's just an excerpt showing that we always partied, we always had the music going and danced and had joy in times of battle. And really, Jake just loved to turn up. Back in the ancient world, back in these times of the account that he's giving, and in these times that we're living in as well. And I had a lot of more precepts and a lot more accounts that I really wanted to get, but I don't want to water this video down and make it too long. It's an excellent book to read. It's so much history, so much diversity within this book. Um, Definitely suggest it. Like I said, the link is in the description. With that being said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Karkadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four. Give me one moment. I know I must needs to bring out at least one or two more of these excerpts. So Baba Kushab, bear with me, because it's some heat in this book. It's some heat in this book. This is from the fourth section. It says, "Every man is sufficient an architect for the purpose." So speaking of, they were building houses, all right, and it says that every man is sufficient an architect for the purpose. The whole neighborhood afford their unanimous assistance in building them, and in return receive and expect no other recompense than a feast. So everyone helps everyone build their houses up, and they don't expect you to pay them. They don't, "Oh, you owe me a favor, you owe me one." They just want a meal, and that's Jake. That's Jake through and through. How many times have you helped a brother, a relative, a friend? You help them move and say, "Hey man, you help me move. You know, I'll order some pizza. I'll get some wings. I'll cook this. I'll do that." That's just our customs. I want to give one more. Um, and they speak about adultery in here, and the punishment for that, which lines up with the scriptures and a lot more. But I just want to get this one. This is from this has got to be from the third. This is the third section. It says our manner of living is entirely plain. Jacob's a plain man dwelling in tents. For as yet as the natives are unacquainted with those refinements in cookery which debauch the taste, which make it nasty, bullocks, goats, and poultry supply the greatest part of their food. These constitute likewise the principle of wealth of the country and the chief articles of its commerce. The flesh is usually stewed in a pan to make it savory. We sometimes also use pepper and other spices, and we have salt made of wood ash. So they flavor the food just like Jake flavored the food. They don't eat that bland shit like like E does. It says our vegetables are mostly plantains, edas, yams, beans, and Indian corn. Jake food. The head of the family usually eats alone. His wives, plural, and slaves also have their separate tables. Before we taste food, we are always to wash our hands. Indeed, our cleanliness on all occasions is extreme, but on this it is indispensable. Okay, so they put a big emphasis on being clean, just like the Jews of the scriptures, just like we do today. It's the same. It's the same people, one and the same. I promise I'm not going to make this video 30 minutes, but I must need to get this out. It says, after washing, libation is made by pouring a small portion of drink on the floor for for the spirits of departed relations. Now, who does that? Who pours out a little drink for the dead homies, for their ancestors, for their loved ones? Jake do that. Jake does that. And I did a little research on where did that come from. And you know what? It comes from Egypt, where Jake was enslaved. So not only do we still today carry habits and mannerisms from Egypt, we still had it in us. We were murmurers and complainers in Egypt, or coming out of Egypt. This has been bred in us for thousands of years. And you can beat us, you can change our names, you can do whatever, but you can't change the soul or the spirit of a man. And we still, the water to Yahweh Bashim Yashai, he allowed us to keep our customs and our mannerisms the same. That's why the spirit resonates with us that we are the children of the Most High. It's just one other piece of information I wanted to bring out. This is from the fourth section as well. It says it's talking about when trading, they had people from other tribes coming through and trading. It says they always carry slaves through our land, but the strictest account is exacted of this manner of procuring them before they are suffered to pass. Sometimes indeed we sold slaves to them, but they were only prisoners of war, or such among us had been convicted of kidnapping or adultery or some other crimes which they esteemed heinous. This practice of kidnapping induces me to think that, notwithstanding all of our strictness, their principal business among us was to Japan our people, put our people through trepidations, or basically like foreshadowing that this is going to be us, which eventually it was. It says, I remember too they carried great sacks along with them, which not long after I had the opportunity of fatally seeing applied to that infamous purpose. So what he's saying is he's seen that the slaves walked into the land carried sacks, and at a point in time he too had to walk through the land holding that sack. He also speaks about the slaves that they had. Now the slaves that they had were not taken from kidnapping. That's not how it was in the scriptures either. In Exodus 21, it says, Exodus 21 and 16, it says, that he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he surely shall be put to death. So they had slaves, but you had to be a slave of war, or you had to have done something that they deemed heinous, and then they sold you to someone. Or if you were a an enemy and you were captured, they gave, if as long as you weren't the chief, they killed the chief, but they would allow your people to redeem you. Or your people could come and barter for you, but if they didn't come for you, then you were just a slave. Now, they actually treated their slaves a lot different from the way slaves are treated in this world, or in this side. Let me see if I can get the account. In the interest of time, I'm not going to get the account. I'm just going to just speak it to you. They were treated with the same respect as everyone else. They weren't asked to do more or less. And there was accounts of even slaves having slaves. All right. They didn't overdo it. They didn't forward the affliction. They didn't beat people to death or send the slave catchers or anything like that out to go get them. Okay. They were slaves in name, but this westernized idea of slavery that we have, that we suffered on this side, is nothing like the slavery that was going on in the west coast of Africa, nor uh, in the time of, when we were in the land of Israel. Beautiful book. Links in the description. With that being said, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Kadash. That honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are there in truth and sincerity, and the women and children who follow. Shalom.